No valid plans for the future can be made by those who have no capacity for living right now. Alan Watts. This is the Hive Mind Project. Welcome.
Alright, fam. This is me. This is what I am. I'm coming to you today from a place of desperation. I see inside of my generation a desire to create something that's bigger, that's better, that's on almost every level new, innovated, and changed. I see this inside of almost everybody that I talk to. They all understand that the way that we have done things is not going to sustain itself forever. It doesn't take much to realize that we are in a situation that is unsustainable. You look at the way that we get our food. Most of our crops that we clear forests for end up feeding cattle that produce our meat for our fucking double cheeseburgers. And if you look from the bottom up, the way that this system is set up, the people on the bottom are left fighting over almost no resources whatsoever. We work these dead-end jobs, we get paid almost nothing. We're expected to be somehow capable of producing a life out of all of that is somehow resembles the old adage from our Constitution, the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness is something that we forget about almost in the need to survive. We've foregone the possibility of having a happy and fulfilling life for the idea that this is what you got to do. This is the way things are. You got to get a job. You got to bust your ass. You got to lose almost all of the dignity and creativity that you were raised to facilitate when you're a kid. Told, express yourself, ask questions, do what you want to do in life, become your own person. And then sometime around middle school, you just get slapped with this realization that that's all just a bunch of rhetoric that your parents instilled into you to almost give you a false sense of freedom. They remember hearing all of these things growing up as well as we did. It's almost like they want us to create a path that they didn't get a chance to create. So they tell other kids, do what you want to do, figure this out for yourself, ask questions, don't just believe in something because people say it, don't just go with the flow because I don't understand what's going on in this world. Well, maybe you'll figure it out, So this is really just my wake-up call, my call to arms to all the people that have felt the same thing, that have the desire to create something new, that believe that we can create something new, really, honestly, and totally. And I really do. I really think that looking in my generation, just the sincere desire to create something better is enough potential to do what we need to do. And make no illusions about it. We do need to do something. There is no denying that at this point. If we don't organize these masses of disenfranchised people, black, white, Mexican, Vietnamese, Chinese, it doesn't fucking matter. If you don't own a multinational corporation and or are in some sort of dynasty that will allow you to survive off of the profits of one of these corporations, you are completely disenfranchised. Make no illusions about it. Sure, if you work extremely hard, if you put your nose to the grindstone, if you believe in what you're doing, you can create something for yourself in this world, and that is one of the very few freedoms that we actually still have left. What needs to happen is we need to evolve our American dream. We need to find a new American dream, one that is not dependent on this fucking falsehood that we are all individuals working towards individual goals, and that you are an island, and that you have property, and that somebody cannot cross it, and that you are a thing that gets to hold on to something in time, because it's a completely false idea. There's absolutely no inherent reality to any of it, and it's part of the reason why we're so fucking mixed up inside of our own heads. these ideas that we carry about ourselves, about the world, about money, they're all just thought systems. They're all just concepts, constructs that we use to navigate this reality and make it some sort of followable existence. The money that we use does not have any sort of inherent reality to it. It is just an indicator, a symbol of wealth. When you accumulate massive amounts of this money, are you accumulating wealth or are you accumulating money? What is wealth? When you think about wealth as a concept, you think of abundance, happiness, security. All of those things all tie into what makes happiness and fulfillment what it is. But if you look at the current standard of what we think of as being rich or wealthy, it's just having a big house, being able to afford a maid, having 3 cars, having a lawn that your neighbors are jealous of. What the fuck is the point of any of that if all of this is going to come crumbling down in 10 years? Is that really wealth? Is what we are aspiring for really the true nature of wealth? Can you be wealthy while others have little? This is an honest question. Can you really be happy while others are forced to suffer? Do you have any true prosperity as long as others are forced to forego having nothing? I think that these are all important questions to ask, and I think that if you look at the reality of our situation, you'll find that as long as there are people out there that have absolutely nothing, who are struggling and who need help, who are not going to get it, you can't really be happy. There's always going to be a hole inside of you. There's always going to be something that says, God, I could have done more for this person, or, you know, the world could be a little bit better of a place if I'd have just done more for other people. So I think we need to wake up. I think we need to look at ourselves, look at what exactly we hold to be ourselves, because along with these concepts of wealth, along with these concepts of happiness, we've also tied in this image of our own personality that has somehow replaced our fundamental identity as self-aware, sentient beings. The fact that you are aware of yourself does change the ballgame quite a bit. If you look at the difference between, say, what a non-conscious entity, well, one with a lesser consciousness of itself, like a fish, behaves versus a human being, we have so many more facets to our awareness of ourselves that our reality is almost entirely unique to us. If you look at what you consider to be yourself, in most cases it's the body. If you look at the body and you say, okay, this is me, which part of it exactly is you? Is it from your tips of your toes all the way up to the top of your head? What about all the skin that's constantly lifting off of the rest of it? Do you have a constant little vapor bay of skin cells just flying off of you? Are those you? Because that's your body as well. Are you the neurons firing inside of your head? If you are, you have to be all of these things. You can't be just one of them. You can't put your finger on any one part of the body and say, this is me. You can dig and hide, look inside the brain and, get all the way down to the very center of the thing, and you'll still just find more goop, more pink fleshy stuff. What does that say? What is missing there? If we are looking for our fundamental identity, and we presuppose that it is our body, what part of the body is you? Where inside of it could you pin that down and say that that is me? If you say that it's your brain, it's just a functioning of your brain. If that's you, why don't you have any control over it? Why don't you direct the flow of neural activity toward being just ultimately at peace with yourself? Why not? I mean, if you are in absolute and total control of your body, and that's you, that is you fundamentally, why not? Why not just slow your heart rate down? Just right now. Just do it because it's good for your body, and that, it's good to have a slower resting heart rate. Don't work your heart so hard. Just relax. Well, you can't. You can't force any of these things to come about. And the irony of the situation is that as long as you're trying to slow your heartbeat, you'll never do it. As long as you're trying to find yourself, you'll never find it. As long as you're looking for an answer to an ultimately intangible question, you're going to be left at odds with the reality around you. I think that our fundamental identity is always beyond our grasp because our fundamental identity is everything. When you look at everything, all of the processes, all of the things that happen of themselves without our control or directing or influencing the chain of events that causes them to happen, all the way from the sunshine down to your heartbeat, it's all one process. In the same way that we don't have any control over the rate of our heartbeat, we don't have any control over the shining of the sun. And so that ties into an old quote by Alan Watts that says, "And if I am my foot, I am the sun." And that is a very Zen concept, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so obsessed with Zen. That's why I'm so really into Eastern philosophy and spirituality, because it cuts through all of the bullshit. It doesn't leave you with, buy this book, this has the next answer, the next great big question. It leaves you with this kind of overwhelming irony with the fact that you are even asking the question in the first place. It's like Alan Watts says that trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth, and that's really what it is. If you look at what is something that a knife can never do, it can never cut itself. What is something that a light can never do? It can never shine itself. Maybe that's not a good example exactly, but like a knife cannot cut itself, a book cannot read itself. Its fundamental purpose cannot be done unto itself. Therefore, what is something that we as human beings, what is our fundamental purpose? Our fundamental thing that we can do, that we cannot do unto ourselves. We can see and we can experience, but we cannot see ourselves. We can define and create concepts, but we cannot place ourselves within that concept. And so we have this tricky little mess up with our language that confuses the idea of ourselves with ourselves, in which right away that might not seem like a very big deal. That might not seem like something that would down the road create overconsumption and world war and famine and disease and separation. All of the things that we have in our society, I truly believe, are trickle-down effects of this fundamental delusion. Alan Watts agrees with me on the sentiment. He has a video called A Conversation with Myself. And in this video, he talks about how he'd just gotten back from this big press conference with a bunch of important people in the movie industry, scientists, religious leaders, and that they were discussing some sort of way to set about a planetary alarm system whereby the world could become aware of the fact that we're reaching a cliff, the edge of a cliff. And in this video, he explains very, very clearly how we have mistaken the menu for the meal. We've mistaken the words that we use to describe this reality with the actual reality around us. And he says that when the right man uses the wrong means work in the right ways. Or maybe the other way around. When the wrong man uses the right means work in the wrong way. And that's because it doesn't matter if you give technology like we have today to uneducated, monkey with a gun, we're only going to do so much with it. We can only figure out so many ways to kill each other with the technology that we have. It's a dead end. But if you take this technology and you use it for a different end, if you have a different being using it, look at what we can do. Rather than using this computer to create a system whereby I can drop a missile from here and into somebody's living room on the other side of the planet, I'm dropping a different kind of bomb, and I'm giving it to everybody for free. And it's free for me to create. It's the difference between creative expression and selfish expression, from fear and love. The two different things that are capable with the technology that we have at this point are almost incomprehensible when placed next to each other. We have this great technology, this interconnected system of sharing information, and we've somehow turned it into this cheap little tool to like pictures of each other's dogs and take pictures of our dinner at night. And I think that's fundamentally flawed if you think about the nature of things going on in our world with the lack of resources, with the overconsumption, all of these things have to be addressed. They simply have to be. And the news is not addressing it. Nobody is. Nobody is coming on TV and saying, hey, I don't really give a fuck what you think about this election. We need to change things. We need to come together and change things from the bottom up. Nobody's saying it. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I think that a lot of us feel this. A lot of us feel this energy. We're all aware of the fact that things have to change. We don't have the capacity to just turn around, walk away, pretend that it's not happening. We have to face it. It's in our blood. It's in our generation. And, well, a lot of people it's strange that a lot of people in my generation that I've talked to, they all have this feeling that something very big is just like looming over our heads, and that almost like there's an awareness within the earth of itself that it's about to snap back to some sort of homeostasis with itself. It's going to force itself back into balance. And what happens when that comes? Well, we don't have the infrastructure to deal with major cataclysms in this country or anywhere really in the world. It seems like maybe we are supposed to be picking up on these things, becoming aware of them, expanding ourselves as individuals, learning to take on this higher consciousness, so that maybe when the herd gets thinned a little bit, there's some good people left on this planet. I don't know. But there's been an undercurrent in my own life that's just been telling me constantly, poking me, prodding me, will not let me turn away, telling me to get out there, to do something, to get my voice heard. Because there's not a lot of people out there that are doing the things that I want to do, that are creating what I want to create, and saying the things that I think need to be said. So this is really my call to arms. This is really where I'm coming from. This is who I am fundamentally. This is what I believe. And I'm glad that you've taken the time to listen to all this, and I hope you have a great day. We're going to have a webpage open soon, a Facebook page for the Hive Mind Project. And I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time.